Put that coffee down.
I'm not here to waste your time, okay? I certainly hope you're not here to waste mine. So I'm gonna keep this short.
Helen, we're both in sales. Let me tell you why I suck as a salesman.
The most valuable commodity I know of is information. Wouldn't you agree?
Coffee's for closers only.
Got it. So, Zach, let's jump in with you. We went around the horn. You got 4 kids. What are their ages, and what are you doing to stay sane?
So my kids are 8, 6, 4, and we've got a 7-month-old.
Wow,
Right.
good
So my wife agreed to have a 4th kid before COVID, and now she's like, I thought I was going to have kids in school all day, and now she's literally teaching kids school all day.
Right.
We what's funny is, I don't know about you all, but like my kids, like they'll just go kind of like crazy because they're inside all day, and
Right.
like if they like get in a fight or something like that, we started doing this thing where we're like, all right, if someone just acts up, we're like, hey, you're gonna go run a lap. So like we're just making our kids run laps around our house. And so our neighbors must think like we are the weirdest people. Cause like out of nowhere, like this morning, like 8 a.m., my son said something to me, just a little hint of like sarcasm. He's like an 8-year-old. I was like, run me a lap. And he just darts outside and runs a lap around the house. Can you imagine like looking outside your house and seeing some random kid like in his pajamas just running around the house?
There's a children's story about that with like a tiger just running around and it spent like butter or something like that. I forget what it was, but it just brings that to mind. I grew up I'm oldest of 4. Okay, this is before Nintendo, before Atari. So my parents might have as well gone through this before, and this is probably early 80s. So 4 kids, and there was nothing to do. So my mom would get so annoyed. She's very stubborn, diehard Italian, and she did not put up with anything. Once the kids started to aggravate her, here was a bag, here was a bag, here was a bag. Go outside, fill it up with sticks in the yard. And when you're done, bring the bag back to me. I'll let you know if you can come back inside the house. That's how, and we lived on 3 acres on a farm. It was a small farm, but it was 3 acres. So we're out there just picking up sticks. That's what we did. So that just brought that.
What did you do with these sticks? Like, what were the sticks for?
It was just
Did you get beat with them?
It was just one of those things. Like she needed to get her sanity back because we're running around like crazy little, whirling dervishes. So she said, go outside, fill up the bag, pick up all the sticks in the yard, and I'll see you when the bag's full. So we were out there for maybe 4 or 5 hours, I guess. I don't know.
Now, see, I had a buddy had a similar experience that when he got in trouble, he had to go out and pick his own switch. That's what his dad said. Okay, go pick your own switch because you're about to get swatted. So he thought, well, I'll pick the smallest one. He said, no, that was the worst. He said it stung so bad.
And TJ, just for the record, you refer to yourself as a child as a whirling dervish. Is that right?
Yeah, I was going through that evolution of a process of becoming who I am today. Yeah.
Are you still going through that, TJ?
I think, it's bringing back some memories. I'm starting to kind of break the mold again and I'm like, remember the scene from The Fly? She walks in, she's like, you're getting worse. And he's like, oh, I'm getting better, stronger. That's where I am right now after 5 weeks of being in this house. Yeah.
The tiger is getting stronger. I love it.
El Tigre. Dude, so Brett, tell me, what are you watching these days? What are you and the family? What are you guys watching?
Is Ozark. I mean, that's it. I mean, I got to keep tabs on the locals here.
I was going to say, how far is that from you?
Oh, not far at all. I mean, a couple hours.
It's right on.
Really?
I mean, yeah, it's right there. Shenanigans are a stone's throw away for me.
Okay. Yeah, we watched about like 5 episodes of that and got into it. It was one of those things where we enjoyed it, but we stopped watching it and weren't quite sure why. And we were kind of saying, all right, as this continues, we'll have to get back into that. Zach, what about you? How do you manage a family of 6 and who watches what?
Man, I have gone down the darkest Paw Patrol hole there is.
Jeez. Yeah, I've been there, man.
Anyone knows?
Yes.
If anyone has watched Paw Patrol, this show is crazy. I mean, you could binge on it. There's seasons out there that you should totally watch.
Yes.
I'm kidding. No, but my wife and I, we've gotten into. You ever seen the show Homeland? Have you guys watched the show?
Oh, yeah.
That's the best.
Oh my gosh,
The best.
it's incredible.
How many seasons are there?
I think this is season 9. So like up to this
geez.
point, so we're in season 9. So we've watched all of them. So like Sunday hits, it's like kids are going to bed like at 4 PM, so we can like watch this show. We can watch this because our kids are so young. I'm kidding, but it's That show is really, really good. I haven't gotten into Ozark though, but I've heard a lot of people really like it.
Got it. And TJ, we wanted to. Well, I should take a step back here. I wanted to. Let's go quickly around the horn. TJ, keep it quick. Yes or no? Inessential or unessential? This is the first episode of Inessential or potentially Unessential Business. Both are grammatically correct. I'm kind of disappointed Webster or whoever makes up the grammatical rules for English, they haven't taken a hard stance on this. I'm leaning towards inessential. What I found is, at least anecdotally here in Texas, everyone prefers unessential. TJ, where do you stand?
Right now, I got to feel that I'm essential because I know I'm important. But no, I think that ultimately it's inessential.
Inessential.
Yeah.
All right, you go inessential with me. Brett?
I don't know. I think unessential's got a nice ring to it. I'm going to go with that. That's where my money is.
Got it. Zach, I think you are the smartest among us. What's your choice?
I'm a big unessential guy.
Okay, you've committed.
There we go.
I'm hard down that path. Yeah.
Shoving your chips all the way in on unessential. All right. All right.
But I am probably the least grammatically correct person out there when it comes to writing. I have no idea. So you can't take my word for it at all. I have no clue.
Right. All right. We're leaning towards unessential then. So TJ, this being unessential business, we started talking about New Jersey, what's happening, obviously a very dense state. Supposedly, according to you, it's the densest state in the union. I haven't researched that myself. Well, let's assume that's true. You're close to New York. We went to a dark, dark place the other day talking about that. And that's not what this pod is about. So let me ask you, what are you reading? And are you equally reading things that are going to put you in a depressive state? Or are you like reading some happy stuff?
Well, right now I've kind of tried to reassociate myself with a lot of different historical books that are out there to kind of just kill some time since I'm home. So right now what I'm reading is Hiroshima, which to me, I believe is, as I understood and I read it, so I might be able to talk to Zach about how maybe I was told it was maybe pronounced Hiroshima. It's Hiroshima because the Japanese do not want to place any sort of value on any part of the word. So I went back and researched it because when I would say Hiroshima, people would look at me like I was, maybe not the brightest bulb in the book, right? So, so I'm reading Hiroshima.
So let me get this straight. During this COVID experience that we're in right now, lots of death, dying, you looked to the past to find some event that included a lot more carnage and death, to put it in perspective. Is that right?
Well, I just wanted to prepare myself because
makes you feel good about your current situation.
Right.
Exactly, because again, you guys are about 4 or 5 weeks, maybe from even seeing what we're seeing right now, and you have to make light of it really, because if you don't, you're just going to be completely depressed and not want to go outside. But yeah, you got to do what you got to do and just try to pass the time by. But it's I don't know, just I'm a weird guy.
Got it. And Brett, what about you? What are you reading? You reading anything on business or otherwise to kind of think your way through this in terms of your own business?
Well, I'd say business-wise and personal-wise would be The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy is one I've kind of dove into here recently. Just self-improvement, financial improvement, just taking small incremental positions and everything and just being tenacious about it and consistent. On the other side, I'm also reading The Primal Blueprint by Mark Sisson, which is more health-oriented and just productivity, personal productivity, eating better physical condition.
Okay. Got it. You're not doing anything crazy on the keto. I mean, keto has now entered everyone's got a punchline territory for it. So it's grown so big, become so common. People don't really know what it is, but they know they can make fun of it.
No, not on the keto. Now I did earlier this year. I did do the carnivore diet. I did 2 weeks of nothing but meat, and that was a different experience. It really wasn't that bad. I mean, especially if you like bacon, and I do. I mean, I'm embarrassed to tell you guys how much bacon I ate in 2 weeks.
Tell me. Give me over under 10 pounds, over under 2 weeks. How much bacon?
I was under, but not by much.
Don't feel bad. I was trying that diet as well. I ran out of meat. I ate my old catcher's mitt. I felt great.
Leather. I mean, it's meat. It's part of it. You don't have to take the skin off the chicken. Why would you do that?
Any port in a storm, man. Any port in a storm.
Zach, what about you? What are you digging into? And has this COVID experience, this environment we're in right now, has it changed any of your reading habits at all? And if so, how? Or what are you digging into?
I'm reading this book, and I started reading this before COVID, but it's actually changed my perspective a little bit. Have you all heard of the book Deep Work by Cal Newport?
Yes. I got
Great
it.
book, right? Do you have it there?
Got it right over there. Yeah.
So I listen to audiobooks so I can take notes as I read.
Yeah.
I just retain stuff a lot more effectively. But the premise of the book is basically about how to avoid distraction to really take in and dive into your work. And especially with people today, just with social media and all the different entertainment outlets, I thought it was a really applicable book. But the thing I liked about it is, and this is a side effect of quarantine and COVID, is that like there is less distraction today. And so it's really got me thinking about like, well, how can I bring this into my daily work, as well as like, I'm also thinking about my kids. I'm like, how do I create like this dedicated time to work? Because are you all familiar with like the 10,000 hour, rule? The idea that like to truly master something, you have to do 10,000 hours of it. The idea behind this book is like, not only do you need 10,000 hours, but it's how you arrive there. Like how much deep dedicated time do you have to learn something and dedicate time to it impacts your overall quality and skill set. Right.
Yeah.
So I've really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not a big fiction person. I really enjoy business books and like self-improvement kind of books. I've really enjoyed this one. Did you finish that, Bradley? Did you finish that book?
I did. It was one of those where I'll often listen to it as I'm, spending time traveling in their car or plane. And if I like it, I'm very visual. I will then buy the book. And that was, every year out of maybe 1 or 2 or 3, I do both. I listen to it and then I'm like, all right, how do I really apply this? So I did both. And then I highlighted the hell out of it. And especially for me, writing, and it drives my wife crazy. It drives Jenny crazy. But I just take my phone, I just shut off my phone, and I'll go 2 or 3 hours at a clip. And occasionally something will happen with the kids or something where no one's in the hospital. She's like, I was trying to get a hold of you. And I'm like, baby, I'm doing deep work. And my wife knows, like, not a fan of deep work. I don't care. I'm like, I was locked in. Yeah, totally. And I think it's one of those books too. They do a pretty good job of giving you a prescription on how to apply it in your life.
Yeah, I felt like, at least for me, you kind of get the premise of it in the first chapter.
Yeah, agreed.
But it's like, I'm going to finish this book. So the more I read it, the more I feel like I'm going to apply it into my life.
I feel like there's more of those books where you're like, oh, I get it. This was a blog that did well. And you got about 2,000 words that are really strong. And then you stretched it into 40,000. And I felt a little bit of that, but yeah, I thought it was good.
It was good.
So TJ, I kind of cut you off before. Are you reading? Do you have a recommendation on your Hiroshima book? And what's it called?
Well, am I recommending my book, or am I recommending something above and beyond my book?
TJ, the world's your oyster, buddy. I was just seeing if you had a book recommendation, anything you're reading right now.
Listen, I got distracted because Zach was talking about not being distracted. And then I start thinking about the 10,000 hours. And I'm like, wait, didn't Stephen Covey say it takes 21 days to break a habit? Who's actually with the stopwatch on the other side of that finish line saying, you know what, boom, did you break the habit? Nope, I'm still smoking. And I love it. Who does that? I mean, but I'm always curious because about attention, like I've said it before, I have the attention span of a gnat. So I'm always buzzing around. And that's actually one of my inefficiencies at work, is that I'm constantly just like bouncing around. It's like one time I put that whack-a-mole down, I got to go to the next one. That could, as an owner of a family business, you have a lot of employees, and you're always trying to make sure that you're taking care of everyone. And you come home, same thing, you're trying to take care of your family. So you're always, for me at least, I'm just constantly just buzzing around like a bee. But that's why I was curious. I was a little bit distracted before. Go ahead.
What's that book over your left shoulder?
That's the Hiroshima book.
What is it? Is it literally titled Hiroshima?
Of course.
Oh,
It's
Oh.
right here. John Hersey, Hiroshima, and
Yeah.
it's a very thin book. And I thought when I first was I was just curious about it because again I started getting into these historical books and and that's a story for another day. But for me to get into history, I felt the longer that we go every day, the farther you are from that event, right? So tomorrow you're going to be farther from that day when the bomb was dropped in Hiroshima or Nagasaki, whatever. And I just felt, I wanted to reconnect. So I wanted a book that's going to keep my attention. And this book definitely will keep your attention. It's a very quick read. It just tells the Japanese point of view of what they went through in those first moments. And it's unbelievable what they went through. And look, we weren't alive during that war, but just you definitely get an appreciation for the atrocities that went down. So it was just caught my card. So
That's surreal. Switching directions here from Death and Dying. Thanks, Brett. Dude, what are you doing? You doing any DIY stuff? You have many improvements here and taking advantage of this time to get old projects done or anything?
Well, DIY, I've been working on my basement, which looks like the Hiroshima bomb went off down there, trying to get it under control. Also started on the deck project of refinishing and staining my deck. So I got everything moved off. All the furniture's packed out into the yard. Everything was power washed. It was scrubbed. And we've had nothing but rain and snow since. So I timed that perfectly. That's about it. Actually, I've been working on the idea, and this is still in the planning stage. So I've got an extra bedroom in my house. I may even try to turn it into a podcast studio. I've been looking at some of the different some of the different fixtures and stuff you can put up to help muffle sound and do some of that. Haven't got that far yet, but like I said, I'm kind of going down that road maybe to get it set up to where I can do a little more of this from home.
Right, this is a good idea for muffling sound because what we have to wear in New Jersey, we have to wear a mask. So as you see, I have these masks on, so when you go outside, you cannot not have a mask on. So these things will definitely muffle some sound, and I'm sure, this will be part of your natural day-to-day habits now because you cannot leave the house. In New Jersey, again, what we were speaking about earlier, is that being sheltered in place for 5 weeks, and you guys are going to probably see this come down the road, hopefully not, but because we are the densest state in the union, Bradley, I think that we are going through a lot more. What you're seeing on TV is really what's really happening.
Now,
here.
do they assess a fine with that, TJ, if they catch you without a mask?
Right now, you cannot enter stores. Our stores are still operating, and you have to wear gloves. You have to wear masks, and anybody that's going to come into your store location also have to wear masks. It's an absolute necessity, and if you don't, you're not allowed in any store. That I was
They
just
shun you. They'd kick you out. They say you can't come in.
Yeah, you can't get in. I was just in the pharmacy earlier today. Grocery store. You cannot not have.
What do they do? Because they can't touch you. How do they escort you out of there?
No, you just can't. They say, listen, you got to turn around. You got to go back out. My wife was accosted in the parking lot because this didn't even happen until about a week ago, where they said, you know what, we're going to keep essential businesses open, but you must have these masks on, and it can be a article of clothing like this, or the real hospital masks that you can get, if you can get them on Amazon from China, by the way. But we can talk about that.
Well, that's got to be safe.
Yeah. So but this is what I look like going in, and so listen, I'm Lebanese by heritage. If I'm walking in like this, you probably think I'm a terrorist, but these are the times these days.
Well, to Zach's point, I'm wondering if you just chose to be a whirling dervish and you started like running around the store. If they can't accost you, which I believe is the right word, it's perfect, Zach. What do? Well, I mean, do they corral you at the 6 feet mark?
So what they do is it's like the old days with the Amish. They kind of just drag their milk wagon across the street and they just shun you for the rest of the week. And if you're known in town, forget it. You'll have the scarlet letter, and you'll just be like they'll be ringing a bell. It's not pretty here.
You've been listed.
Pictures of this? I'd like to see this.
Yeah, I agree.
Were you recently accosted? Is that how you know, TJ?
I was
Okay.
It's not really. I'm going through therapy right now, and under HIPAA laws, I cannot share that information with you.
Hey, so Zach, I wanted to ask you. You wrote down that you are also drawing with my kids. I have a little bit of an OCD personality, and I've got into drawing cars because my wife, to help break up the day for my 8-year-old, bought a kind of step-by-step they have a bunch of cars, and they show you kind of step-by-step how to draw them. And it is appropriately titled Draw Cars. And I got in hardcore. I made my wife go find a stencil online so my tires are perfectly, circular. What are you drawing?
So there's this really great YouTuber. He's like this dad who draws with his kids.
Yeah.
And he has 2 cameras set up, like one where he's drawing and then one where his kids are drawing. And he'll draw everything from like a character from Moana to like Pokemon to princesses to animals, whatever it is. And my kids love this guy because you can draw. I mean, he'll show you how to draw something like 5 to 10 minutes. And I love art in general. And so it's like the first time, I guess, I don't want to say ever, but one of the first times my kids are like, let's do this together. Yeah. And so I'm drawing all kinds of Pikachus and Pokemon and Ninja Turtles and all kinds of stuff.
Crayons?
What?
Do you need some
crayons?
Yeah,
I do.
No, wait a minute. Is it Crown or is it Crayola?
I was just about to ask you, do you call it crayon or crown? You ever heard people call it crown?
These are Crayola?
No. Who calls it crown?
Crown.
I heard there are people out there.
I've heard it too.
Look, there are people.
It's a thing.
They say Hiroshima. I mean, I'm sure it happened. What do I know?
Bradley, do you draw quite a bit in general, or just picked it up because of this?
No, I used to draw a ton when I was a kid and even through like college just to stay engaged. So this is like rekindled this. And I have old books of where I was drawing a bunch of stuff when I was like in grade school and high school. So I brought it out and showed my son. Now the problem is I sit down and I'm like, I can do this for probably 3 hours. And my 8-year-old.
How many Bob Ross videos are you watching? How many Bob Ross videos do you watch a week?
Happy trees.
Just
little pretty little tree. It'll be our little secret. How many videos did you watch?
And every tree needs a friend. So we're gonna have a bush. There's a nice fluffy little bush here. Now we're drawing the stems of the bush with that evergreen colored so slightly fade to
TJ, you're
black.
doing a really good impression there. How many do you watch?
I have hair similar to him. Remember Bob Ross? It was like this afro that would stick out. That's how I had that connection with him. So that's why I connected with him.
You brought this up multiple times. You tried to. We edited out about 35 minutes on the original episode we did together in Austin about you talking about theoretically what your hair looks like. Here's what I need. You say Bob Ross, I say prove it. I'm looking for you tomorrow, this weekend, whenever you want. I need a before and after photo of LT Gray talking about this fro he's talking about. I want to see it.
We spoke about that on a certain episode, I believe, right? That was episode 95, right?
It's whatever episode was tattooed on your shoulder there. There it is. There it is.
Well done. Well played.
Those are tattooed. Oh, you're doing it. You're doing it live? Oh, I didn't see this coming. This is what Unessential business is all about.
I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing Bob. I'm just not feeling it.
I'm seeing Bob Ross in Brett's beard more than your head, first of all.
It's fine. Look, the bottom line is once you just got to touch it, but that's we won't go there. That's fine. So, Bradley, you were telling me you're a big fan of kickball, and I wanted to know, are you still playing kickball in the street to spend some time with your kids or what?
Yeah, we have a standing 5 o'clock game. So what happened was I got my 8-year-olds big into baseball. So there's this innovation here. I think this costs like $5 or $6, which is the margin's got to be incredible. It's this power net. It's a wiffle ball that's rubber. So can I still throw it and peg it at kids? Yes, I can.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You send this to me? Where can I buy this?
Oh, you can get it. We just bought a 12-pack on Amazon. I'll shoot you the link. So they're limited flight. So they can go far enough where you can play like in the street. And baseball is one of these where you can reasonably play without, and especially if you're pegging, you say, all right, you can't get within 6 feet, so you have to throw it at them. We started doing that. And then someone was like, well, we have a bunch of girls in our neighborhood. They brought out the kickball. So we transitioned right into kickball, standing, time every day, 5 o'clock. I go out there, rough them up a little bit. And ton of fun.
I got to ask, Bradley, that ball looks like it has pretty consistent perforation all the way around, whereas the traditional wiffle ball, had all the perforations on one side. And that's what made it so great is, I mean, anybody could get some movement out of that thing. How does that thing fly?
Yeah, dude, great question. Nothing gets by you, my friend. You're 100% right. These are
I mean, as soon as you said you had me at wiffle ball, Bradley. Had me at wiffle ball, okay?
You're right. These aren't perfectly around, but for the most part. But you can still throw a cutter. All right, you can still throw your little circle change if you need to. You can still mix it up, but they're great.
It definitely looks like it would leave a mark for sure if you got pegged with that thing.
Yes, for sure.
Next time I'm accosted in the grocery market for not wearing a mask. So send me some as well, please.
Absolutely. Zach, what sports are your kids in? Well, and tell me, what are your genders before kids?
So I have my oldest is a boy, and then the next 3 are girls.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
And what's your oldest into?
We're very outnumbered.
He's 8?
He's 8.
Okay.
So we play just about everything. I mean, we play kickball. We play wiffle ball. We'll throw the football. I mean, it's like something different every day.
Yeah.
But he's recently gotten into baseball, just kind of in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. I can't like peg this baseball at him.
No.
And so that's when I'm like, man, will you please send me that? Because
these are better.
I got to even the playing field, literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Brad, what do you got going on? How old's your kid?
He'll be 17 in about a month and a half.
Dude, so how has that affected high schooler, right? So is he going to be going into junior or senior year?
Be going into his senior year. So, he's not in that group of seniors that are obviously going to be missing out on graduation.
Right.
He still has all that ahead of him. Obviously, it's a major impact. And you got to wonder how much this is going to affect the schools and the institutions themselves as far as how they move forward from this. I mean, are you going to see a lot more online stuff? Are you going to see a lot more capabilities there and pushing towards that? I don't know. I mean, I know there's a lot of parents that no longer want to be teachers, but they have a lot more respect for them now.
Yeah, what's really interesting, right before all this broke, the week before spring break, I do a little teaching in Oklahoma State. And this was when the coronavirus was more in a punchline state. And everyone's like, dude, all these kids are like, I'm still going on my cruise and all this. Well, then they just basically, a week and a half later, they said, do not come back. And one of the students sent an email and basically said, hey, if we're paying, upwards of 15, 20 grand a semester, I've got these, half-ass PowerPoints with some teacher talking on them. Like, a lot of these professors were not prepared for this. They're saying, this is what I'm spending all this money on. So it's going to be fascinating to see what sort of disruption and innovation comes when there's this realization that, hey, the value I'm getting from having a great 4-year experience at a Virginia Tech or at Oklahoma State or, wherever, University of Illinois, it's the Harvard of the Midwest. If you guys aren't familiar with it, it's a great school.
Mm-hmm. Heard about that. Small article, but I saw it. Yeah.
It's a little one. But I think you're right. It's going to kind of change everything. And they're going to be like, hey, this can't happen again. How are we prepared for that? But it's going to be interesting.
It's definitely different. People, it's just a complete look. It's going to have such an impact just with this this kind of light bulb flash memory of all these kids. And I don't care how old you are or how young you are. If you're inside the school system and having this whole just semester taken away, and again for New Jersey, they've even talked about possibly not even getting back or how it will start to unwind come fall. So I've said it before to a couple different people we've talked to. It's almost like 10 miles into the woods, 10 miles out. So this ball is still winding up in New Jersey. And if you just kind of have that domino effect across the rest of the country, there are certain other hot spots, there's certain low spots for sure that haven't seen the effect that we have. But we are pretty much at ground zero for this whole outbreak. And again, you see this curve coming up, and it can plateau, and it can keep going and keep going and keep going. The last thing they're going to do is put kids at risk and bring them back to school anytime soon. That's my opinion.
So Zach, hey, appreciate you making time, coming on the inaugural episode, quite potentially the only one we'll ever do, of Unessential Business. Any last thoughts? Any other recommendations? Maybe, and one thing I was just curious to ask you is, I know you guys track a lot of trends that are being searches online and a lot of that stuff, which we don't do at all. I don't know, what have you seen or any sort of insights that you have found from doing this, whether it's business related or not, as just we're all trying to cope in this environment?
Well, I think one thing that's applicable to all as parents is, and I can send this graph around if you want me to, right at the beginning of quarantine, there's this massive spike in online searches regarding what to do with my kids at home.
Yeah.
And then since then, it's basically taken a nosedive. People have given up. That has nothing to do with our industries, but it is kind of comical to see that like people are really excited to be with their kids, and they're like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. Like, no, but I think from a digital trend standpoint and what we see from online shifts and online demand, we're still seeing massive growth, and this is true for almost the entire building products, building materials category, that there's still a lot of demand for building products. And that we're also seeing this, for people who are researching homes, houses, plans, that kind of thing. The weird state that we're in is that if you don't have any kind of speed or convenience or ease around purchasing, you're kind of stuck in this bit of this research phase.
Right.
And so if that's you, if you're one of those kinds of companies, finding ways to capitalize on that research is smart, and finding new ways to engage with people is critical. But I think the big shift that's got to happen is if you have any friction in your buying process whatsoever, whether you're in the service industry or construction or building products, whatever it might be, you got to find ways to make it super, super easy for people to buy, because people are anxious. They want things today. Amazon is throttling the products we're trying to buy. And so if you can meet that need, you're winning. And that's a really big thing, without diving too deep and nerding out too much with you guys about data. But that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, and I think just to add on to what you're saying is that it's a whole different space now. There's different levels everywhere, because what's going on in the Northeast, well, what part of the Northeast? The New Jersey as opposed to Maine versus Vermont, and you go to the Southwest and to your hometowns, there's no level playing field anymore. Maybe there was never one to begin with, but right now what this silent pandemic has done is really forced us all to kind of hedgehog and find out, all right, let's kind of regroup here and see what's best and what type of evolution is going to come out of this. The script is still being written. I think we're still trying to understand what's going on and grasp it. And for businesses to kind of, in certain spaces as well, is that we can't sell. If we can, we don't know how long we're going to be able to before that's completely shut off. So it's a completely, I want to say like a minefield. You just don't know where to step right now. And just best thing for us is just a hedgehog and just kind of regroup and like, let's get our hands on this right now. So.
Yeah. And I think too, is some of these companies, I'm sure you've seen them, Zach and Brett, maybe this is relevant to you or some of your competitors. They've taken some steps to have some e-commerce, check invoicing online to make it easy. Yet we know with some of our clients, while they've invested the money, it has not become part of their culture. And the biggest sale that has not been made is within their own people to go out and believe in it. And we're seeing right now is in the course of a couple of weeks, we had this radical shift where all of a sudden, personally and professionally, there's this interest in getting educated on digital consumerism. And I think, hey, when we get back to whatever the new normal is, this is an opportunity to kind of help people help themselves overcome some of these hurdles that they might not be comfortable ordering on their smartphone or laptop, et cetera. But great point. And Brett, any last thoughts here as we wrap up here as it pertains to your business or personally, anything at all?
To play along with what those guys are saying, I mean, the social distancing thing has, as you said, forced us to find other ways to communicate with people. I mean, our industry has been entrenched in the idea of everything's done with a handshake. Everything's done face to face. I mean, you're going out to the job sites, you're walking the sites with people. We're not doing that anymore. I mean, we're finding other ways to communicate with them. So that's where you're talking about your online stuff, your guys. I've got guys that are texting now that 3 weeks ago didn't want to text. You couldn't force them to, but now they're having to, because they can't drive over and talk to that builder to find out, hey, what do you need brought out tomorrow? What's next week looking like? No, you got to talk to them from distance now. You can't just go out there. So tying in with what those guys are saying, there's so much. This is really the dynamics of everything is evolving as we're kind of working through this.
Well, as true lumber building material nerds, we found a way to end up talking about business in Unessential Business, episode 1. TJ, any last thoughts? You've got 12 seconds.
Listen, guys, we're going
All
to
right,
get
thank you. Great to be here.
Then.
Oh, sorry.
We
Go
have
ahead.
to get the commercial already? Guys, we're going to get through this. We're going to persevere. We're dynamic individuals in a really good industry, and we've done it before. We're going to do it again. So everyone's going to just keep their heads up and just power through and just learn from it. This is a learning experience for us all, and we'll get through it.
Got it. Well, I've learned from you guys. I appreciate following you. I appreciate you making time for this. Episode 1, Unessential Business, officially over. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.